Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess, because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manouk Vink. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. And this episode is for my dreamers, for the ones of you that just know undoubtedly that there is something more out there, that we are meant to be tapping into so much that feels inaccessible right now, but you know in your core that it is 100,000% possible to achieve these things. You know that there is more than what meets the eye, and you can't quite put your finger on it and how to do it, but you just know that it is there. Because I've definitely been a dreamer. As a Pisces, it is naturally part of, I guess, who we are. And even though when you start learning about intuition, you find out that we can grow out of certain traits of our zodiac sign, dreamer is not going to be one of them that I am going to release or get rid of, because I love being a dreamer. Like, why live in a boring reality when I can live in my fantasy land? So that is actually what we're going to be talking about today. Naturally, because I've been reading all Romantasy books, and I'm not big of a reader. I don't read much at all, to be honest, except for, I read 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, and now I guess Fourth Wing and Akatar. So that tells you a lot about what kind of genre I like. But as a result, it has now become my entire personality. Next to baking bread, doing the handstand is still part of my journey, but I think bread and romantasy are now my main personality traits at the moment. No, I'm just joking, but not actually. But I think the reason it has become so, obviously we love diving into these books, and it has become such a hype. And I think it is important to realize why it's such a hype. And I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start opening up your perspective, hopefully, into realizing that these romantasy books are not that far off of what you can create. And it's going to be my mission to get as many of you realizing that those things that you're reading about, maybe apart from the wings, maybe we can even create that, men with wings, who knows? But apart from those things, a lot of them are not that far off of what we can actually do. And when I read these books, I read things in there and I'm like, I'm doing some of these things, like the energy work, the intuitive stuff, reading thoughts, all of these things are part of what we're actually capable of. Not only that, when we look at these relationships that we read in these books, obviously that is what we really love about them, because it's something that we yearn for. It's something that we want to have in our lives. Now, what if I told you that you can 100% create that, right? Then wouldn't you all want to create your book boyfriend in real life? Like, who wouldn't want to do that? Well, I'm going to start talking about today how you can start doing that. On top of that, we're going to also look a little bit at the absent of light, dark force side of this situation, because when you read these books, it is just mind-blowing to me, because even in TV shows, you see things and you hear things and you're like, well, that's literally what's happening. So it's like they're spelling out to us what is actually going on. Now, I can tell I'm having a little bit of an anger reflection. For those of you who are seeing a little bit of this video, the sunburn isn't hurt sore. I've got a little bit of redness, but it will be brown tomorrow. And I have a little bit of a sore throat, because I think that's because of unexpressed creativity, because I got so excited about today's topic, but also little anger reflection and mosquito bites. So I need to get that under wraps, and I'm going to do that by being excited with this podcast. No, I need to actually go deeper into the anger reflection, but it's okay. I'll nail it. So for those of you who are we're wondering about what those are, here are the root causes of a sore throat, burns, mosquito bites. Super fun. Bug bites are often have to do with anger. Sunburns do too. And then depending what part of the body, it tells you about, how you're feeling about. Oh, it has to do with expression. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. So anyways, we are going to be diving into that today. It is my mission to make your romantasy and my romantasy a reality. So what I want to talk about is both of these things. And let me see where I'm going to start with this one. So when it comes to these books, right? The mystical world, all this stuff. And you read about this stuff and we dream of these things. Now, I've always questioned since I was a little girl, I have been a dreamer, right? My fantasy, quote unquote fantasy, was large, even though now that I look back, was it fantasy or was it actually reality? And I was just being led to believe that it was not a fantasy that I was believing in. So we're going to go a little bit into let's go into the dark force, absent of light stuff real quick. And then later on in the podcast, I want to cover some of the romantasy stuff. And I think it's going to tie in nicely because what I want you to realize is that the reason we feel like we can't reach or do the things our favorite characters can inside these romantasy books or whatever fantasy you're watching or whatever you resonate with when you think of like your dream life, your fantasy, your fairy tale, right? The reason we feel like we can't achieve those things or do those things or they seem very distant and far away is because of the absent of light kind of programming that we have gotten over the years. Now, this has come up. Actually, it's so interesting. So for those of you who are not so familiar, by the way, with dark forces or absent of light, I would recommend to maybe listen to, I've touched upon it a little bit in some episodes. I will put them in the show notes. I would recommend, and even the mini series inside my free membership, to dip your toe into that. You might otherwise, I don't want you to listen to this and get triggered, and then it might stop you from actually diving deeper into this world. I want to make sure that you get the full story of what this entails and why I'm talking about this. So I would recommend diving into that a little bit before you listen to maybe this podcast. But if your soul is feeling pulled, then listen. But I would recommend diving into the other ones first, because this might actually set you back instead of move you forward if you don't know what dark forces are absent of light, or you don't know anything about that and you're not ready to hear this yet. And we don't want that, because like I said, it's my mission for you to unlock your fairy tale life, your romantasy. And if you are not ready to hear something, then that could stop you from being able to achieve that. So going back to today, was it today? Yes, it was today. I was hosting an event, and a free event that I do every other Sunday, and we dove into some topics, and there was this girl who followed her intuition, and she ended up not knowingly followed her intuition. She ended up sitting nearby and listening to what we were talking about. And we got into a conversation, and not to share too much, this topic came up about, feeling hopeless and feeling like there's too much heaviness, too much heavy energy around you, and you don't know what to do. And it feels like you're drowning, and it feels like there's no way out. Now, even I've spoken before to people who have been afraid to look deeper at certain things. Like they physically feel fear, and like they're not ready to have an intuitive read, to have a healing session, or to dive into any topics, because there's this fear response that comes up. Now, this fear response that comes up is because they know that if they get this information, their life is going to change, right? It could change, or they might not hear what they want to hear. And this is where the ego steps up and doesn't want to partake, because the ego is like, no, we're comfortable where we're at. We don't want to move forward. And we've all been there, right? Like I've been there before, where you don't want to go and see someone because you don't want to get the wrong idea. Like even if you think about it, when I would back in the day when I was dating, I would look at the compatibility, with me and whoever I was dating. And if the app said that like we weren't that much of a match, I would talk myself out of that must be just in this scenario and it won't be in the current scenario that I'm in, right? Because I didn't want to hear the bad news. Or it would be like, let's not look it up because I know it's going to be bad news and I don't want to have that bad news, and therefore I'm not going to look into that. And that's also why a lot of people might not go and get help, because they know that when they do, it's going to shift their life, and that can be extremely scary. Even though their soul knows that if they take that step, they can start transforming their life. But transforming your life and achieving a certain success means leaving behind an old identity that might feel like it is comfortable. And there's a big component of that where we feel suppressed and we can't move forward. Now, when we look at the absence of light and we look at dark forces, dark energy, I've explained this in the past before, but for those of you who might need a little refresher, just because we have light, we have source, and we can read energies. And I've also heard so many times that people, if they just ignore the fact that there is dark energy and just believe that there isn't dark energy, and they believe strong enough that that dark energy cannot affect them, then it will not affect them. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is unfortunately not how it works. However, there is a way in which you can tackle all your reflections and subconscious limiting beliefs, and that the dark energies will not be able to affect you to a certain degree. Yes, but that is a very advanced technique, and that, yes, we can dive into, but it takes a little bit more coaching to dive into that. However, because we try to not look at something or pretend that something is not there, doesn't mean that it goes away. It's like if you have a disease in the body and we just pretend that it's not there, it's not going to magically disappear. We have to take an action to shift that or face that fear, to move through it, to get the result that we want. So when it comes to absent of light things, and this is a conversation that I had where people feel like it's powerless as long as I just stay away from people and I just like isolate myself and just, do my own thing, I won't be affected anymore. Now that, first of all, is no way to live. Second of all, that is not you conquering the situation. And again, it's not your fault because we've never been given the correct tools. Plus, there's so many situations where people get misguided. So I've had situations or people that I know of who have had absent of light situations. So here, the place that I'm living in is quite superstitious. So superstition is a big thing here. So believing that negative people do put spells on you, all of this stuff. So for those of you who are a little bit new to the dark force absent of light topic, I'm going to do a little recap. So as I was saying, we have the light and we have the ability to use this information to channel source, to connect with our intuition, we have light beings around us. We have energies that there's energy around us that we cannot see. Like if you think about radio waves, right? We don't see them, but it's an energy. It's a frequency that's going around. Even our eyes, when we are looking, the peripherals of what we see, it's our brain filling out the gap. So we're not actually seeing it. It's our brain predicting what the rest of that image is. So we aren't actually even seeing everything that we are seeing, which means that even like certain energies we cannot see. And amongst those energies, we've got light energy, but we've also got absent of light energy. And that's where we also get the question, is there no such thing as evil? Because if you are able to shift your subconscious and shift everything and create something, then, and especially if you look at it from Christ's perspective, that everything is perfect, then is there no such thing as evil? Well, look, that gets a little complicated. It gets a little bit of dense information. And although I would love to chat to you guys for 4 hours about that topic, I'm going to give you a little explanation of how this works. We do have absent of light energy around us. And if you've listened to the Energy Vampires podcast, we dove into that. And then I had one with Angela, my colleague, who's a trained intuitive, also mastery in dark energies as well. Me and her talked about this a little deeper inside that podcast as well. So again, I will link them below. And then also I've spoken about it in terms of the fitness industry, all of that stuff, how this works. So in regards to that, we have this absent of light energy. People use these absent of light energies to get the things that they want. So even recently I saw a video of a woman who got an Etsy witch to put a spell on her or something to gain success. Now, look, my alarm bells go off immediately and I want to scream, no, don't do that. Because yes, witchcraft, rituals, all of this stuff is only part of what is out there, and they do work. So when I even if I have a negative thought about someone for a long time, you are sending negative energy towards someone, and it will affect them because you're sending a negative frequency their way. You're sending them negative energy, so eventually it will affect them. Now, don't use this towards anyone you don't like because it is going to have a rebound effect on you. It is not good. We never want to use this dark form of energy because it is always at a cost. So this is just to start opening up your awareness to the fact that there are heavy, darker energies around here. And even like in sleep state, when you ever experience something like sleep paralysis, things like that, this is probably you being affected by negative, heavy energies. And these are being used in a lot of industries. Now, I know of stories in, for example, Hollywood industries and things like that, where like literal contracts have been signed to use negative energies to get certain amounts of results. So if you've ever thought or felt anything around that, I want you to know you're not wrong. Your instinct and your intuition is right about all of this. And the funny thing is, when I was young, I was always very aware of this. So when I was young, I would like avoid mirrors in the dark. I even I never even watched it, heard the movie The Ring. And as a result, I was like terrified of TV screens and TV screens, computer screens, all this stuff. So I would unplug them and like put blankets over. Not that that would stop the ring from coming at me, but I thought it would. I always knew, like I had these weird thoughts and beliefs about this stuff. So my soul knew that dark, heavy energies were real, that there were like demonic entities and energies out there. And if you're not ready to hear this, then please go and listen to the first few episodes before you're ready to hear this. So I knew that this was a thing and I could feel that this was real. Obviously, society and, a lot of us have been, I would say, brainwashed, reprogrammed to believe that this is not real. Like you become ostracized if you start talking about this. I know in certain religions, it's more open to talk about these things. Like it's more of a thing to talk openly about. Now, look, I don't come from a religious family. I know my mom, she grew up Catholic, but she didn't really take it with her in our parenting when she parented us when we grew up. So I didn't grow up around any religions except for when I lived in the Philippines. I knew a lot of, Catholic, there were weird experiences that I had there. Anyways, that's for another day. But there I was even confronted with some of this stuff where, I don't know, the weird rumors. Anyways, so if you've ever felt that way or you knew that there was something more, then I'm here to tell you you're not wrong. And that is 100% truth. Now, we have techniques and tools to be able to disconnect from these energies. We have techniques and tools to protect ourselves from these energies. And it is a game changer. So if you've ever felt here are some of the things that you can look for if you're being affected by darker, heavier energies, or you are, you have you've been connected too much to someone else's energy, so you're corded into someone else in a negative way. I mean, all the time, you should never be corded into anybody, but some are more like draining than others. You could be experiencing things like severe headaches, always sick, even though you're super healthy. So if you're doing everything that you feel like is right for your body, but you end up being sick all the time, lack of energy or lust for life, feeling like you're drowning. Every time you're about to be successful, it gets ripped away from you. So you're about to become successful and then suddenly it gets like pulled from underneath you. You have an intense craving for sweets and you cannot control your sugar cravings. Certain addictions are assigned. So addictions to certain drugs or alcohol or things like that. Or even like shopping addictions, things like that, food addictions. They could be signs of darker, heavier energies. And if you're experiencing all of that, you feel like you're putting your best foot forward all the time. You're trying to get out of it, but it feels like you're being dragged under every single time. That could be a sign that you are being affected by darker, heavier energies. Now, we have solutions for that, 100%. I can help you disconnect from those dark energies. And if you're ready to, or if it's something that reoccurs, even coach you on how you can start protecting yourself against, or guide you in the right direction to get that information to start protecting against the darker, heavier energies. So I thought it would be important to start talking about this because it is like a taboo for me. At least it feels like a taboo topic, like something that shouldn't be touched. And we feel like nervous sharing about it. At least I do feel nervous sharing about it because it's one of those things where I feel like so many people know that it is real, but we just don't want to know. And now there's obviously a big reason for that. Now, if we zoom out a little bit, this is also if you look at the Romantasy books, right? Like if you look at these books and you look at the narratives, at least of some of them, it's like we're always being distracted or being told something that isn't true. Like we're being lied to here and there. And this is to keep us kind of controlled and contained. So if we were all to know that we can protect ourselves against darker, heavier energies, if we were all to know that we are able to tap into our intuitive gifts, we are able to shift our reality to anything that we desire. We have the power to shift our body. We have the power to extend our lives. We have the power to create and manifest everything that we want through subconscious reprogramming, through seeing our worth, through seeing our value. If we were able to know all of that, we would no longer they wouldn't be able to use us to supply their demand, basically, and they wouldn't be able to control us in that way. And that's why if this topic gets brought up, we either get ostracized or don't touch it, don't get near that because it's evil and you can't do anything about it anyways. Or we have situations that I've heard of people that I know that have struggled with this and they get sent somewhere and this one person that is meant to help them with a dark energy situation just puts another dark ritual on that to make it go away. But as soon as there is anything like a ritual involved, even sacrifices, I hate to say it, but I've heard it involved. If there's anything that is like voodoo-like involved, stay away because it's just amplifying whatever you are wanting to take off. And you don't need any external things. You don't need to walk on the street and wear something specific. Like I've heard weird things, throw water over your shoulder. You don't need any of that. You have all the tools within yourself to be able to disconnect and protect yourself from these energies once you start understanding how to use these tools. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this conversation has come up a couple of times now, and it's something that I think is very important to have a deeper understanding of, because the more we know, the more knowledge we have, the more power we have, right? So from feeling powerless, like you're a victim of things happening to you and you're being affected by darker, heavier energies. And, you know, these stories, I've heard them so many times that there is no denying that this happens, right? It's a real thing. Now, the more we try to stick our head in the sand, the more we try to run away from these things, the bigger the problem becomes. This is where I want you to tap into your Romantasy favorite character, right? The main character always going for battle. That is the energy that you want to tap into. Don't run away from the thing that you are wanting to change. You got to run at it. You got to be equipped. You have to know the knowledge. You have to know the understanding. And when you know and have the understanding, you can battle it. You can shift it. Sticking your head in the sand is basically allowing whatever is happening to happen and giving away control. Now, if you are not wanting to access your dream life, by all means, stick your head in the sand. If you want to stay stuck where you are, by all means, stick your head in the sand. If you don't want to take control of your situation and start creating the life that is meant for you, again, ignore it. Don't face it. Turn off this podcast. That's fine. You can stay where you are right now. But if you are ready to take action and you are ready to take control of your life, tap into your creator power, realize that that romantasy that you are wanting to unlock is available to you. Doesn't mean you get there by a snap of your fingers. No, you have to put in some work. You have to get a deeper understanding of this stuff. But if you are willing to do that for the reward at the other end, then you will do it. And this is part of trusting and taking action on the things that you believe are true, on the things that you believe you are capable of. And I know each and every one of you has that warrior inside you, has that main character energy inside you. And you know why I know that? It's because when you read these books, when you watch these shows, we identify with the character because something lights within us. There's a fire that lights within us that goes, I would do that. I can do that. I want to be able to do that. The fact that you want to be able to do that, the fact that you want to step into that character and be that is reason enough, is proof enough that you have the capabilities of doing it. But here's the deal. Society, the conscious collective, has been programming us and making us believe that we are not capable of doing that. So it's one of those things where it's extremely difficult to drown out the noise. So what happens is we have this radio blast on all the time without you knowing it, because we're just hearing everybody's thoughts all the time on top of the TV, on top of the social media, on top of everything that's going on in the world, not to mention all the 5G and all of this stuff that we're ingesting, right? That's a whole nother topic. But because of that, it's extremely difficult to drown out the noise. So I want to give you props if you have, because that means your soul knew, you went with your gut and you listened to what was right. You listened to your inner voice that was saying something is off right now. I know that there's more out there. I know that there is something different out there and I can access it. So be proud of yourself. Give yourself a little moment where you're going to be like, I did that. I listened to myself and I knew in my core that there was something more. If you are going through a tough time right now, if you're being affected by these heavy energies and you feel like it's moving through the Sahara, fighting for your life to get out of this, the fact that you're still fighting, the fact that you're listening and you're looking for a solution means that you are powerful enough to do this. And you've just been missing the right tools to be able to shift out of this. The first part of being able to shift your reality is realizing what is actually going on and then getting the tools to fight whatever you need to fight, right? So looking at some of your favorite characters, I'm not going to name any names, but you can identify with one. Looking at those favorite characters, they have a character arc, right? They are weak. They can't access things. They're oblivious. They think they've been lied to, right? And they think that they see the best in people the best in people, I guess. And they find out the truth and now they decide, I'm going to fight for this. I know that there's more out there, but they had to go through the traumatic event to get there. So right now, if you're going through the traumatic event or if you're constantly going through these obstacles, it means you're meant for more. It means that you are ready to wield your weapons and get on the battlefield to access the things that you want. So we're going to transform you into your main character. And this is where I want you to look at all these ideas, these shows that you watch, and think about everything that they're facing. It is not far off of what is really going on. We are in one of the hardest times in history right now. And it may sound crazy, but it is true. With all of these thoughts, all of this MK Ultra, let's just say it, MK Ultra, all of these dark energies around, dark forces affecting our thoughts and belief systems all the time. And social media also influencing us on the daily. We are being hit by everything constantly. That is why it has been one of the most life-changing things in my life to be able to have certain energy protections, to be able to connect with my true self, as well as develop my intuition, to be able to navigate this situation so that I can always come back to me and realize, okay, this is not mine, this is someone else's, and I know how to keep my energy clean and clear and always reconnect with myself. And one thing that I want to share you are not powerless in this situation. You were put in this situation because your higher self knew that you could get yourself out of it and you can handle it and you can face it, right? Look at the characters again. Let's go back to the Romantasy. Think of these characters. They were put in those situations because they were like the chosen ones, right? They're always the chosen ones. That is what you are. You are the chosen one. You are meant for more. You're the one that's supposed to be the powerful one that's facing everything and that you're going to fight everything off of you. And that's what I want you to reconnect with. And just because there's more than one chosen ones, because we're all chosen for our own specific path. And if you are listening to this podcast, you are 100% one of those, right? We don't want that scarcity mindset to play and to say, who am I? Because that is, again, a limiting belief. You are extremely powerful. You are capable of so much. And each and every one of you has a unique path. And on that path, you are the chosen one for that specific path. And on that path, you are able to unlock that life, unlock that relationship, unlock that abundance, and get away from all the dark, heavy bullshit, right? So it is 100% possible. But first, we need to start becoming aware of the fact that this is a real thing. Then I want you to connect to the fact that you are capable of shifting out of these things and being able to protect your energy and create the things that you desire. In order to do that, you need to understand first if you have this issue or if you do not. If you do and you don't have the tools just yet, what I would recommend that you start doing, if any of the symptoms that I mentioned sound like something that you are going through, what I would recommend you do first is look at the reflective components of that. So if you don't know much about reflections, I have content on that. It is on a bunch of on platforms like Rumble. I explain it in some of my podcasts. Otherwise, you can always reach out to me. I have all my information in the show notes to help guide you in the right direction to get the information that you need. Already feeling powerless, that is something that we want to start shifting. When you start shifting that reflective component, you can start tapping into your power. And that is when things start to unlock. So if you already can start shifting the beliefs that are amplified due to the darker, heavier energies, it will already reduce the effect that this darker energy can have on you. Now, if you're stuck on this because it's quite advanced understanding, then please feel free to reach out to me so I can guide you in the right direction, give you the right information to start shifting out of this. But what I want you to become aware of is that you are not a lost cause. You don't have to lock yourself up. You don't have to feel powerless. It actually means you're extremely powerful because otherwise you wouldn't have been dealt this card. So I just want you to let that sink in for a second. You wouldn't have been dealt a card that you wouldn't be able to handle. And the fact that you're looking for answers means that you're able to handle it. Okay, now that we've got the dark energy stuff a little bit under wraps, right? And if you want to know more information about this, then again, reach out. I can guide you in the right direction. Also, we do host weekly free live events. If you are not on the free newsletter yet, join there to make sure that you're updated on the weekly live events where we dive deeper into topics such as this. Also, dark energies is one of the topics that we dive into. Also, obstacles, reflections, all of this stuff is something that we dive into. And there you can come and ask your questions live and I can help guide you in the right direction on live already in that moment so that you can move faster with this stuff. You can speed this stuff up. Podcasts are great because they're going to help you move forward. But in these live events, we really get to the bottom of things quicker and you can get the answers, the shifts in a quicker format, right? Okay, so dark energies. Looking now at your Romantasy story. none of this is that far-fetched. And I know if you're listening to this and you're like, Manouk, you're crazy, it's because I'm a dreamer and I know that I'm not. And the crazy part of me is the part of me that knows in her core and knows through experiences and knows through what I see intuitively and with my third eye and all that stuff that this is real, right? It's all real. I mean, some parts of it are, some parts of it are not, but it's not that far-fetched. It's not that far off of what we are capable of. So dark energies, the dark stuff in there are all based off of actual things that are existing in this world. Like even Monsters, Inc., right? Think of Monsters, Inc., that movie. The whole plot of that movie is monsters scaring kids to generate energy. I mean, kind of what's happening. For those of you who are still listening, that's kind of what is happening, right? In reality. So all of these things are not that far off. I want you to start opening up your awareness to these TV shows, to these books, and start asking yourself, wow, how close to reality is this, right? Now, when it comes to the superpower component, we've spoken about the immortality. That's 2 podcasts ago. Also, I think we can unlock this. Like there is a way through understanding reflections that we can be youthful forever, or at least for a longer time, at least for a couple hundred years more. Like it's not that far off. Now, me and a friend have looked in intuitively to back in the day, and we have channeled information, and even through some books and diving deeper into all of that, there was a period where we lived longer. There was a period where we didn't age as much. I think I even saw a podcast around something similar, like a previous civilization. So again, not that far off. Now, the powers. And when we think of, like, when I read these books and when I dive into these characters and I read and my jaw is sometimes on the ground because I'm like, wait, I'm doing this. I'm literally putting on mind shields, putting up my mind shields. I am literally, reading other people's thoughts. I'm making intuitive decisions. So I don't know. I haven't seen a book yet where they go down a path and see the future. Oh, I mean, some of them have that power, right? To see the future, see the outcome of things. Like, look, we're all capable of doing that. You can tap into your intuition and you can do that. You can look down timelines and see how something is going to work out and something is going to plan out. Like I did this recently for my partner where he wanted to swap out his car. And I looked at it intuitively and I was like, it's not looking so great. It looks like you're going to have to go back to the shop like multiple times. And of course, he didn't listen. He got the car anyways. And as a result, he had to swap. He has had many issues with that car. And so we are capable of looking down certain timelines and seeing the outcome of things and shifting that. Same thing. There are so many topics we can dive into with this. Again, we're just scratching the surface of what we're capable of achieving with all of this. So again, intuitive powers, a little bit about that. Each and every one of you has gifts. Each and every one of you has the ability to tap in intuitively and read energy and communicate and channel and get energy from different entities, different light sources, your own body, look down timelines, and you're all able to do that. So again, the superpowers of your favorite Romantasy character are not that far off. Now, the main part of the Romantasy that we love is the men. So sorry for the men listening to this, or maybe not. Maybe you want to hear this. But it's the men. It's the relationships. It's the love. It's the passion. It's the excitement that we are looking for. Now, again, if we think of how we've been manipulated, programmed to believe that we cannot access any of this, it's all part of a bigger plan. Because if we are in a united couple, right, and you see this as well, even in these stories, a powerful couple that is together, they generate more energy and they have more power together. Now, this is true. So there is a lot of truth to that. Even being intimate with a partner, the majority of the reason for that we've been taught is to procreate. Now, I've recently discovered that that is not the main reason we are intimate. It's because we generate this beautiful, impactful power together when you are in a good state energetically. and you are also matching in that energy and you're totally present. It's more because of the energy that you generate with each other. It's a very powerful creation energy. Like the female body is the portal to this realm, to this world, and getting to that place together allows you to unlock creator power. So the more you are a match and together and you're creating this power together, generating this power together, the more powerful you become. But when we look at today's society, when we look at how men and women are being basically brainwashed to not like each other and almost not respect each other, like the amount of times I see women complaining about men, and men, I don't know, it's not happening as much, but not respecting women as much, right? Like there's a disconnect there, and it's not because there's no good men. There's so many good men out there, and it's not because there's no good women. There's so many powerful good women out there. Like both of them are there, but we've been corrupted by the conscious collective to believe to like create a divide. And now on top of that, with all the confusion about genders and stuff, now don't get me started on that, but with all of that, it just disconnects us from how powerful we are if we become a united front, right? We become so much more powerful because both are essential, powerful women and powerful men. When we become a united front, when we go together, we generate more power. Now, this is something that those romantasy books, like there's so much more to it than just the smut part. I mean, we love the smut part, but there's so much more to it, and that's why we love them so much. There's so much because it something in our soul lights up, and we know that there is truth and there is this desire to want to recreate that, to want to unlock that in our lives. And I'm here to tell you, and it's going to be my mission to unlock that within each and every one of you, because you are all capable of creating that with the right tools, with the right understandings. Now, I know this because I've applied some of these tools and I've seen the transformations in my life and other people's lives. And it is absolutely amazing to see how powerful each and every one of you are and what we are actually capable of creating. Now, the first thing we need to understand is that to create the perfect relationship, you don't need the other person to change. Like, as in, we don't need to focus on how they're not changing. You need to focus on your internal state. And the moment you start shifting your internal reality, the way that you view yourself and the way that you shift things, that is when your partner or the person that you're wanting to meet either comes in or you shift the way that they treat you. And I've seen proof of this. So the way that my partner has shifted the way that he prioritizes me is insane. Like, it's literally night and day difference. So I am unlocking traits within my partner that I would love to have in my book boyfriend, right? The book boyfriend that I want. I'm unlocking them in my partner, but not by him needing to do anything really. As in, of course he takes the action, but the reason he's taking the action that I need him to take is because I'm shifting my internal reality. I'm shifting the way that I'm valuing myself, and he's just responding to that energy. So from within, you can start shifting your reality. You can start shifting how your partner treats you. Now, an example of this is because I started focusing on how I prioritize myself, because I start focusing on how valuable I am. And if I am valued over other things, then everybody else's lives become better. And if I can root to that fully, then my partner will think, ooh, I need to invest time. I need to invest money. I need to invest and prioritize my partner, because if I do that, my life gets better. Now, this may seem like selfish or what, but it's not, because it genuinely does. Like, if you are here to change lives, but you are not prioritizing yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, and you're constantly being treated as the maid or the help, or you're being put last on the list, then you can never tap into your full potential. And that's why we love these books so much, because these women in these books by their partners are being prioritized. They're being uplifted. They're being pushed to the place and given the space and the containership. And that's where we need that combination to step into what they are capable of. But without that safety, without that security, without that support, it is harder. We can still do it, but it is harder to create that. Now, this is where that partner becomes fuel to the fire. It becomes you guys grow bigger together because you're supporting each other in this. But to do that, you don't necessarily need to lecture your partner on having to do something different or get angry with them. You simply need to start shifting your internal reality, the way that you treat yourself, shift your energetic field, and your partner will just respond to that energy and shift and change. And that is how you start creating your own book boyfriend, by shifting your internal state. Now, I've spoken about some of this before, even the previous podcast, where you start finding attraction in your life. And the moment you start doing that, your partner is going to give you that attraction, that intimacy that you're looking for, because now you no longer need it from another source because you already have it. And in some other podcasts, I talk about this, how this is how we start to shift our reality, by shifting our internal being, by shifting what we see already and what we have already, and just amplifying it. And this is what I'm so passionate about, because when I read these romantasy books, and that's why it's like my obsession, not only because I love it, like they're great stories, but also because I look at this and I go, we can, like, maybe without all the extra like gore and blood, like I could do without that. Like, let's just talk about how we can just energetically fight the dark energies. Like, you can have the tools to do that for sure. And even then, look, this is why I'm also so passionate about the body. Like, being capable gives you that sense of confidence that you can take on anything. And that is what I want you guys to tap into. I want you to tap into the fact that you can take on anything. You can be that warrior chick. You can be that main character and face down everything if you just believe it. Reprogram your subconscious beliefs to tap into that character. And that doesn't mean that you're faking it. It means you're just tapping into that piece of yourself that you know you already have, and you're unleashing it and you're unlocking it. And then with the right tools, by taking certain exercise classes or self-defense classes or shooting classes or things like that, that gives you that confidence, that give you that skill set, you enhance your creative field. You enhance your capability to face everything. And that allows you to tap into that divine feminine power that you have within you, because you know you're capable of handling any situation. And then you're also capable of creating everything that you desire. And that is what I want you to start tapping into. That is my mission, for you to realize that you can create your own romantasy in real life, and you can face those demons. I'm getting too passionate here. You can face those demons. You can create that book boyfriend. You can unlock your powers. You can even become freaking immortal. Like, we are able to unlock it all as long as we take those actions, as long as we tap into these things, as long as you don't shut off that dreamer within you. There's one caveat that I want to add in. We don't want to be too hopeful, but that is another topic for a different day. But there's all these techniques that you can unlock because you are powerful enough to do it. You are capable of accessing these things. And I promise you, you can do it if you set your mind to it. I swear that's a lyric in a song. So that has been on my mind, and I felt like I wanted to share a little bit more about this. Hopefully this empowers one of you and makes you realize that you don't have to settle. Like, you literally don't. You shouldn't. And every time you do settle, every time you give up on that dream, give up on that fantasy, you'll just create another obstacle, because your higher self is like, no, bitch. You're not meant to settle. You're meant to step into this main character energy, and you are meant to unlock it all. You're meant to unlock your book boyfriend. You're meant to be able to fight these demons. You're meant to be able to tap into the power that you know that you have. So that was my little rant for today. I hope you enjoyed it. But no, for real, if you're ready to unlock these powers that you hold within, if you're ready to tap into that main character energy, you're ready to face these energies and tackle them. We have the tools, we have the resources, we are all capable of doing this. Reach out to me if you want to figure out how. But most importantly, come join. If you want to speed up this process and unlock more of this, come join our free live events where you can start speeding up this process, get more intuitive input on all of this, and start accessing that power that you hold within. Because yeah, you can access it all. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't have it all. I've had that said to me so many times, and every single time I'm like, watch me. Watch me. It might not be the easiest road, but I am not like, why would I not try? Why would I not try? Why would I not live in a reality where it is possible? Because I know that it is possible. And so for the dreamers out there that are like me and know that it is possible, I'm here to tell you that it is, and we are going to unlock this together. And yeah, that is it for today. My little romantasy spiel. Is that how you say that? Yeah. And I just want you to, if you've been feeling hopeless in the situation and feel like powerless, I just want you to know the only reason you're feeling like that is because you're missing a tool, you're missing an understanding, and you just need that new tool or that new understanding to start shifting out of this. And maybe today is the day that you start unlocking that tool or that shift, and everything starts to open up. So don't give up. You're capable of it. And that romantasy is around the corner for you. It might take a little extra fighting the demons, fighting the wars, fighting the good fight, but you can do it. If you're wanting to unlock that and you want it bad enough, you can 100% do it. And I believe in you. Now, again, if you want more information, just reach out. And if you want any advice or something that I mentioned did not make sense, or you want to dive deeper into any of these topics, I appreciate each and every one of your inputs, because it is for you that I want you to start accessing your powers. So please reach out with any questions, anything you want more clarity on, and I will be happy to guide you in the right direction. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.